Attention passionate Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Let's get to the news now, Seahawks fans. I know you've been paying close attention to all the roster moves, the signings, the releases, and the buzz around the team as we gear up for what promises to be an exciting season. And let me tell you, there's a lot to unpack. A lot of strategic moves that could have real repercussions not just for this season, but for the future of this franchise. One of the most talked about stories lately involves Shaquille Griffin, a player who's had a bit of a roller coaster ride with the Seahawks. And just when we thought his chapter was closing, well, things got unexpectedly interesting. You see, Griffin's second stint with the Seahawks has officially come to an end, at least for now. That's right, folks. After a period of uncertainty, the Seahawks decided to make a move, and it's a move that's definitely going to turn some heads. The team claimed and signed off waivers the former Los Angeles Rams cornerback Derion Kendrick, a player who's been making some waves in recent seasons and who could bring some much-needed depth to Seattle's secondary. Kendrick, a sixth-round pick in 2022 out of Georgia and Clemson, has had a pretty interesting career so far. He was a starter for the Rams in 6 games during his rookie year and then played 12 games in 2023, showing flashes of talent but also battling injuries, including a torn ACL that kept him out all last season. Now, he's back on an NFL roster, and it's the Seahawks who have given him this opportunity. The signing of Kendrick is significant because it speaks to the team's ongoing effort to shore up their secondary and fill those thin spots. Seattle's defense has been a work in progress, especially when it comes to the cornerback position, and Kendrick's versatility and experience could be a real asset. He's 6 feet tall and weighs around 199 pounds, and he's someone who's demonstrated the ability to compete at this level. Interestingly enough, Kendrick's first career interception came against the Seahawks when he was with the Rams. A little bit of poetic justice, perhaps. But the fact remains, he's now part of the Seahawks squad, and he's going straight onto the 53-man roster, which is a big deal. This move also raises questions about Griffin's future in Seattle. Griffin, who's been with the Seahawks before, missed a significant part of training camp dealing with personal issues, and when he returned, he looked good but not quite at his peak form. He's 30 now, and while he's still a veteran presence on the field, the team's decision to waive him temporarily and then re-sign him to the practice squad suggests they're trying to keep their options open. Griffin is not subject to waivers because of his veteran status, which means he's a free agent, and he can sign with any team at any time if someone else shows interest. But Seahawks general manager John Schneider has already indicated that Griffin will be sticking around for now. Yeah, he'll stick around, for sure, Schneider said after practice. So, while he's not on the active roster at the moment, Griffin's experience and leadership remain valuable, especially for a young secondary that's still learning how to gel. Now, let's not forget about the other side of the roster puzzle, Seattle's ongoing need for depth at defensive tackle. The team only has Jarran Reed and Byron Murphy on the 53-man roster at that position, which is pretty thin when you consider the physicality and durability required in the trenches. To address this, the Seahawks signed back Quinton Bohanna to their practice squad. Bohanna, just 25 years old, was a starting nose tackle during training camp and is a mammoth at 350 pounds. He's someone who can provide that much-needed reinforcement for the team's interior line, especially in short yardage and goal line situations. With the NFL's rules allowing teams to elevate players from the practice squad up to 3 times per season, Bohanna's presence could be felt on game day sooner rather than later. And that's not all. The team recently signed Brandon Peely back to the practice squad, just a day after waiving him. Peely is another big body at the nose tackle position, and given the lack of depth, he's likely to be called up multiple times during the season. The Seahawks' emphasis on beefing up their defensive front is clear, especially as they prepare for a tough opener against San Francisco. The 49ers have one of the most potent defenses in the league, and Seattle needs to be ready to match their intensity. So these signings are not just filler, they're strategic moves to ensure that Seattle can hold its own in the trenches against some of the best offensive lines in the NFL. But the defense isn't just about the line. Off-the-ball linebacker is another critical area where the Seahawks are making moves. That's where CELERATE comes into the picture. A third-round pick in 2021 by Minnesota, CELERATE has been a promising player but was recently released by the Vikings and is now available for signing. The Seahawks are reportedly interested, and NFL media's Mike Garafolo broke the news that discussions are ongoing. CELERATE's versatility as a linebacker who can cover and rush the passer makes him an intriguing addition. His presence could help solidify the middle of Seattle's defense, especially as they look to improve their run-stopping ability and pass coverage. Schneider refused to comment specifically on the signing, but it's clear that the team is actively exploring all options to strengthen their linebacker core. With the season just around the corner, every addition counts, and CELERATE's potential signing could be a game-changer, giving the Seahawks a more flexible and dynamic defense. As we look at the current roster, it's evident that Seattle is still in the process of finalizing their squad, and these moves are part of a broader strategy to build a competitive team that can contend with the NFC West's toughest rivals. The division is stacked with talented teams, and Seattle knows that to get back to the Super Bowl, they need to be smart, aggressive, and a little bit lucky with health and execution. The front office, led by Schneider, is clearly committed to making the right moves now to set up for success later. And let's talk about the players who are currently on the practice squad. The Seahawks signed a mix of veterans and young talents, all of whom could be called upon during the season. Among them are wide receiver Tyrone Broden, defensive tackle Anthony Campbell, and defensive end Jalen Gaines, each bringing different skills to the table. The roster also includes cornerback Shemar Jean-Charles, offensive tackle Amari Kite, and center Federico Maringes. Running backs Damian Martinez, Jacardia Wright, and Anthony Tyus are also part of this group, giving the Seahawks additional options in the backfield. Linebacker Patrick O'Connell, safety Jarek Reed-II, and linebacker Jamie Sheriff round out the list, emphasizing the team's focus on versatility and depth across the defense. This roster construction reflects the Seahawks' approach building from the bottom up, ensuring they have enough talent and competition to push everyone to perform at their best. It's a delicate balancing act, especially with the roster constraints and salary cap considerations, but Seattle's front office has shown they're adept at managing these tricky waters. Now, looking ahead, the big question remains: how will these roster moves impact Seattle's performance in Week 1 against the 49ers? The game is set to be a litmus test for their new additions and to see how well they've managed to gel in such a short time. The 49ers are a formidable opponent, especially on defense, with a potent pass rush and a disciplined secondary. For Seattle, it's about applying those new pieces, getting everyone on the same page, and executing the game plan flawlessly. The Seahawks have a talented core led by younger stars like Devin Witherspoon, Rick Woolen, and Josh Jobe, but they need that veteran leadership, like Griffin, if he stays, or others, to steady the ship in high-pressure moments. And this season is shaping up to be one of the most competitive in recent years. NFC West teams are loaded with talent, and every game counts. The Seahawks are aware that they can't afford to take their foot off the pedal, especially in a division where every win can make the difference between a playoff spot or an early exit. The coaching staff, led by Pete Carroll, continues to emphasize discipline, effort, and adaptability, which are crucial traits this team needs to succeed. So, as we get closer to kickoff, all eyes will be on Seattle's roster decisions, their strategic adjustments, and how quickly the new players can integrate into the system. The potential is there, and the excitement among fans is palpable. This team has the talent, the spirit, and the determination to make a serious run, and what we're seeing now is just the beginning. The moves being made reflect a clear intent: to be competitive, to be resilient, and to leave no stone unturned in their quest for another Super Bowl appearance. The NFC West is fierce, but the Seahawks are ready to rise to the challenge. And now, Seattle Seahawks fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all these roster moves? Do you think the additions of Kendrick and CELERATE will make the difference? How confident are you in the team's chances against the 49ers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Seahawks. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Seattle Seahawks news.